Is this in focus? What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. I remember when the first iPad came out back in 2010. I was 13 years old at the time, and I remember seeing it and I was like, wow. I was like at awe, and I just couldn't contain myself. I remember immediately rushing to my parents and telling them, I need to get this. This item could change my life forever. And to no surprise, I was denied, and I was pretty devastated. And so I decided to save up all my money, and in 2016, which is 1 year after I came to Cuba, I was able to save up enough money to buy myself my very first iPad, and that was the iPad Air 2. And I also managed to buy a little makeshift stylus so that I could write notes, which was one of the main reasons why I wanted to get an iPad in the first place, was to write more digital notes. And yeah, I wrote my notes, and I also, edited my first few videos on the iPad, which was pretty awesome as well. And then in 2019, which was last year, with the help of my parents, of course, I was able to upgrade to the 2018 iPad Pro, along with the Apple Pencil, which I'm super grateful for. Oh, sweating. Now, having used the iPad for almost more or less 4 years, I've got a lot of experience. I've been using it for literally everything. For note-taking, med school stuff, editing photos and videos with it, reading PDFs, documents, browsing the web, and even managing this entire YouTube channel, all from this iPad. We have come a long way since the very first iPads, and they have become more versatile, more powerful, and even more capable than they ever were before. Especially with the recently announced iPad OS 14, it is continuing to be a very powerful device. So in today's video, I'm gonna be breaking down why I think the iPad is a very indispensable tool, not only for students like me, but also mobile creatives in general. So I'm gonna be breaking it down into 3 sections. The first section is gonna be about the general things I like about the iPad. The second section is gonna be about why I think it's great for students. And the last section is gonna be about why I think it's great for mobile creatives. Let's get into it. Okay, so here are some general things that I really like about the iPad. In my case, it's the iPad Pro 11-inch from 2018. First things first, premium build quality. Ever since the first iPad, they've all been made with aluminum, which is a very high quality material. And although there have been some issues apparently with the latest 2018 iPad Pros and beyond for being so thin that it's easily bendable, I haven't experienced that in my general use. I have a case on it, but I like using it without the case most of the time so that I can, feel how it was truly intended to be. I've had it for about a year now, and it's good. It's great. Build quality is nice. No complaints here. Next thing I really like is the beautiful display. This beautiful 11-inch, almost edge-to-edge display. It's just great to look at. And although it's not the most pixel-dense display out there at only 200 and something pixels per inch, it's very good. It's a great IPS panel. It has great viewing angles, great colors. And if you have an iPad Pro, you'll really appreciate the 120 Hz refresh rate display. For those who don't know what that is, it basically means that your display refreshes its content at twice the frequency of a normal screen. So like normal phones have 60 Hz displays, normal laptops, TVs also have 60 Hz displays. So imagine when you swipe, it feels a lot more smoother. And it might not be a deal breaker, but it's generally really nice to experience. If you haven't, you should really just look at one and you'll be amazed. Another thing I really like about iPads in general, which is not specific to this iPad, is the fact that it has great battery life. Like, honestly, Apple advertises 10 hours of battery life, and I generally hit that most of the time. Obviously, if you are, playing games, or if I'm editing videos or podcasts, it won't last as long, probably just half of it. But for like every day, just waking up in the morning at 8, going to the hospital from 8 to 12, just writing notes, referencing some documents, taking a photo here and there. It lasts me well into the evenings and even into the night. One thing that sets Apple devices apart from most other devices is that Apple builds its own chips. They create custom silicon just for the iPhone and just for the iPad, and eventually the Macs with the Apple Silicon Macs. The chips in the iPad will blow away most of the competition. The chip inside these iPad Pros are even comparable to some desktops and laptops, which is pretty amazing if you think about it. So you won't have any problems juggling games, using demanding tasks. All apps in the App Store will be compatible, depending on the iPad, because if you go for the more budget tier one, they might have some problems, but generally it works just fine. And if you're using one of the more modern ones, you'll notice that there's a lot of headroom for the future. So your product is pretty much future-proof. And the last thing I really like is the fact that the newer iPads have transitioned to USB-C. USB-C is the connector of the future. With one connector, I can charge my phone, my laptop, my tablet, my headphones, all with one device. And it's plenty powerful too. You can actually use the iPad to charge your other devices like your iPhone and anything really. It actually has enough power output to charge those devices. So it's really a very versatile connector, which beats Lightning, because with Lightning you have to buy like a hub, and then with those hubs you still have to power the hub because the Lightning port isn't able to output enough power. And so having USB-C is very forward thinking. Thanks, Apple. Now let's talk about why I think it's really awesome for students. I'll be talking in mostly a medical student basis, but it's pretty much applicable to any student out there. So one of the reasons why I think the iPad is awesome for students is the fact that it's thin and light as a feather. I don't know the exact dimensions, but I'll put it up somewhere here. But it's ridiculously thin and extremely light. And that makes putting it into a bag, chucking it into your anywhere really easy, and you won't really feel it, which sometimes when I bring it, sometimes I forget it's there. And yeah, it's just thin and light, very easy to carry, super portable, and just really nice. Another great thing is that it marks the new age of digital. And what I mean by that is that you now don't need to have pens, paper, markers, pencils. None of that. All of that is substituted by your iPad, and it's done with the help of apps. There are a lot of paid and free ones, but the ones that I've liked are GoodNotes, Notability, and Liquid Text. GoodNotes and Notability are two different note-taking apps that each have their own pros and cons. For example, Notability, I like the fact that you can record audio as well as write notes. And that's pretty cool when you're in the ward or in the lecture where the teacher is like teaching something on the slide as well as talking. And so you can actually write notes and record audio at the same time. And what's cool too is you can actually play back the audio. You can change the speed, you can, trim it and stuff, but you can also play it back and your notes will follow the audio, and that's really a breakthrough. GoodNotes is basically a simple notes app, but I like the UI and just the way it's laid out much more than Notability. And Liquid Text is basically a PDF reader on steroids, and you can use it to load up your PDFs. You can make cool mind maps. The mind maps that you create, you can tap it and it will go straight into the page. It's just a better way to read PDFs because no one likes reading PDFs on a screen. But with this app, you can interact with it much more than a regular PDF reader. And if you buy the Pro subscription, which is I think $30, you can actually link multiple documents into one project. So you can actually have 3 PDFs side by side, all in one document, and you can basically manage it a lot more better. You can read it all at once, you can reference each one, make comments, draw links, and everything. So all of this is not just powered by the iPad, but it's also powered with the Apple Pencil. The Apple Pencil experience is just so great. There's literally no lag, and it's just a really good experience. With the 120 hertz display as well, you can rest assured that it feels like you're writing spot on the device. So what I would usually do is I would have good notes for making my summaries, and I would use Notability to actually, run and gun type of note taking. And then I would have Liquid Text as the book. I could have it dual app side by side, and then one slide over. You know what it is. Another thing I really like is I love the ability of having all my documents, all my music, all my files, all my PowerPoints, all my anything, all accessible within one device. I can't tell you the number of times that before I had this iPad that I had to look to the textbook and then try to find the page, and I have slides on one other side, and then I have like other documents, and it would just be all cluttered, all in different locations, and it was just a big mess. So I love having the fact that all my stuff are in one place, so I can, whenever I'm in the hospital ward, just on the side, not doing anything, I can just pull out my iPad, I can read up ahead, and I can just, be productive in the time that I'm not doing anything. What's cool about it too is you can actually search anything you want in the either document or just your files. So it makes it very easy to just look for anything. I mean, I still use my laptop. I still have a laptop. It's like a very old laptop from 2013 that surprisingly is still alive. Don't jinx it. And I use it as a secondary screen. I can display a PowerPoint or something. It's not a very powerful laptop, and it doesn't have much battery life, so it doesn't really come out of the room much. But I just put extra documents that I want there, and I like it so that it kind of frees my iPad screen, because it can get really cluttered on the iPad when you have like two apps side by side and then a slide over window and a whole bunch of other things. So it's nice to have that secondary screen as a laptop. And I also really like the iPad because it makes it a nice hub to manage all of your life stuff. So whether you're planning your days, whether you're managing your passwords, your goals, your life goals, your to-do list or anything, it's just nice to have a big canvas to just plan out everything, and it's just great. I use LastPass for my password management. I use NetNewsWire to catch up on the news, Outlook for email, social networking apps, apps to kick back and relax, like gaming. I've been playing a lot Dead Cells, and I also have some kind of a puzzle game, Monument Valley, and Minecraft has been a really good game as well. And speaking of apps, that's the fifth reason why I really like it for students. There's a whole catalog of apps made specifically for the iPad that take well advantage of what the iPad has to offer. And there's so much for different specialties. So like whether you're a maths major or a medical student like me, there's atlases, there's calculators, there's so many quality apps for students that is probably an app for anything that you want, which is awesome. So whether you're pulling off an all-nighter or you're just relaxing, there's an app for that. And in my opinion, I feel like they're just more higher quality than, Android apps or Windows apps. Don't at me, but it's just my opinion. Alright, and for the last and final section is, why is it so cool for mobile creatives? I consider myself a mobile creative. I like to be free. I like to be able to just go anywhere I want and be able to create whenever I feel like. And so the iPad has been a wonderful tool. A lot of you guys know, if you're watching this, that I make videos. I do YouTube. I also have a podcast, which I'll plug sometime later, but I do audio editing, I do photo editing for thumbnails, and for personal. I make music as well, and the iPad has been an awesome tool that allows me to basically do all these things in one device. And that's thanks to the help of a lot of apps such as LumaFusion that I use for video editing, Affinity Photo for thumbnail making, Fairlight for my audio manipulation. What else? Darkroom, I like using Darkroom for editing photos, For music making, I like using GarageBand, Beatmaker, and Cubasis. Procreate is a cool app for drawing, which is its main purpose. But I've mainly used it for like doing some animations because you can make it do like animated titles without using After Effects, which is pretty awesome. And I've dabbled a little bit into graphic design with Affinity Photo, Canva, and Spark, which are great apps for that. And so yeah, as you can see, I can become a filmmaker, musician, podcaster, graphic designer, animator. Oh, I haven't talked about animation apps, but there's cool ones like CaliPeg. Yeah, you can be everything you want to be, a jack of all trades. The only limit is your imagination. The second reason is it has great mobility, so I can carry this, finish editing a video on the streets. If I'm in a line, I can actually like make some music or something. You know, if I want to work on a photo or a video edit, I can. I'm not limited to a table or a desk. I can be anywhere, in the bathroom, out in the park, on the side of the road, walking with it, whenever I want, whenever I want. It's very easy because it's so thin, so light, and so small, and so portable. And because it's so portable, I can fit everything into a small bag, carry it, and I can set up a podcast on a table somewhere, or set up a whole video making shoot with minimal gear. Another reason why the iPad is great for creatives is the fact that it has very stellar speakers, great mics, and a pretty decent camera for what it is. A tablet. A lot of people don't like taking photos on their iPad, and I kind of fall into the same category. But I don't despise people who do, but it's just kind of awkward. Although the viewfinder is really nice. In a pinch, you can definitely use it to take B-roll or like photos and edit them right there. The mic quality is really great. I think I'm gonna put a mic quality test now so you can hear it. Alright guys, this is the audio quality coming from the iPad Pro's microphones. I'm about 1 feet away from the mic now, and I don't know how this is gonna sound, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna sound pretty okay, and it's gonna be decently usable. Yeah, and the speakers are so good for what it is, right? It's so thin. I don't know how Apple managed to put some really great sounding speakers in there, but kudos to them. And the sun is in my face. Oh my god, the sun is in my face. It's gonna cast a weird shadow on me. It's so hot. While the speakers are good, it will definitely not beat a dedicated pair of speakers or headphones, but it's not terrible that you wouldn't want to use it. And the last thing that makes it awesome for creators is the Apple Pencil. It isn't only great for note-taking for students, but it's also great to be able to draw. It has pressure sensitivity, it has almost zero latency. So for creative purposes, it's just definitely a great addition to your creative accessories. Trying to avoid the sun. So yeah, it basically makes the iPad experience a lot more fuller and creative. Yeah, and that is the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I somewhat have convinced you that the iPad is no longer just a consumption device as it was in 2010, but instead it's actually a very useful creative tool, not just for creatives, but it's also a very useful tool for students as well. I would say it's a useful tool for anybody, honestly. I'm gonna close off this video with this. The iPad is truly a device that has changed the way I do anything, and I think it's the perfect device, and I can't recommend it enough. That's the end of this video, guys. Peace out.